Daf Nun Vav Amud Aleph, about a third of the way down the two dots. Continue on with discussing those personalities who, on the surface, it seems to be that they were chayta, that they did a chet, but the Gemara darshans that really, in fact, they did not do this chet. Amar Shmuel bar Nachmani Amar Rav Yonasan Kol Ha'omer Dovid chata eino l'tayah. Whoever says that Dovid HaMelech was chayta in the Maisa with Bathsheba, then he's tayah. He's making a mistake, even though literally it would seem that he had relations with her. Gemara says he's tayah. Dovid HaMelech was successful in everything he did, and Hashem was with him. Is it possible that he did this avera? It says the Shechina was with him, that he did this avera. Elamani Mekayim, how Mekayim this, that he did the avera, that it says Madua Bazi says Dvar Hashem Lasos Hara. Why did you disgrace the Dvar Hashem to do this terrible thing? It means Shabikesh Lasos V'loi Asa. It didn't mean that he actually did it. It was Bikesh Lasos V'loi Asa. And before Shem are bothered that this pasuk Vahi Dovid l'chol derach u'maskel v'Hashem imay is written before the Maisa with Bathsheba. How do we know that this is the case even afterwards? So there are various pshatim that try to answer this and explain it, but the general theme is that if Hashem was with him, he would have been protected from this avera. Perhaps we can also say and add that it says Vahi Dovid l'chol derach u'maskel, that it's not in the past tense, meaning it's an edus that his entire life, this was the matzah, the status of Dovid HaMelech, that he was successful, Hashem was always with him. So further, we have droshes that Dovid HaMelech was not chayta with Bathsheba, and Rabbi, who was a descendant of Dovid HaMelech, he was a Nasi from base Dovid, he also darshaned in that way. So the pasuk says, Madua Bazi says Dvar Hashem Lasos Hara. Why did you do this terrible thing? You disgraced Dvar Hashem. Rabbi Aimer Mishuna Razu Mikol Rosh B'Torah. This is different. The expression over here is stated differently than other places in the Torah. Shekol Rosh B'Torah Ksibu Vayas. In other places it says Vayas in the past tense. It means to do this bad thing. Shabikesh Lasos V'loi Asa. It doesn't mean that he actually did it. Why did you disgrace Hashem with the intent to do this terrible thing? But in fact, Rabbi says he did not do it. So he did not do this terrible avera. She was not, at that time, she was not considered an Ashes Ish, which we'll see shortly. The pasuk says, "As Uriah Chiti Kesa Becherev," that you killed Uriah Chiti with a sword. So what does it mean? It's mashma that he actually killed him. So it's mashma that he actually killed Uriah after he was with Bathsheba. The Gemara says no. It doesn't mean that he is chayav misa with this. It means shahayel chaladuna b'sanhedrin v'loy danta. You should have judged him with a Sanhedrin. As we'll see shortly, Dovid HaMelech judged him to be a Mayrid b'Malchus, to be rebelling against the king, which is a Chiyuv Misa. A person is Chayav Misa for rebelling against the king. Dovid HaMelech judged him to be Mayrid b'Malchus, so Uriah Chiti was Chayav Misa. However, the taina was you should have judged it in the Sanhedrin, not by yourself. There's actually a discussion in the Rishonim if a king has to, if he's mechuyev to judge in the Sanhedrin. Taisa says that he is mechuyev, even a king has to judge a Meir b'Malchus with Sanhedrin. It's just that there are certain leniencies, or rather, there are certain halachas that in other cases which are not Meir b'Malchus, where we try to be mahapech for this chus and try to look for ways not to have the person executed, which don't apply to a case of Meir b'Malchus. The Rambam learns that the king is not mechuyev to dan Sanhedrin at all, but the time over here is that this is a chilul Hashem, since it was negeah to Dovid personally, In this manner, he should have, in this case, tried in the Sanhedrin, so there shouldn't be a Chilul Hashem. So as far as killing him, meaning the Taina was not that he actually killed him unlawfully, but rather that he should have done it with Sanhedrin. And you took his wife, you took her for yourself. So the Poshatar is mashma that he did an avera, that he took someone else's wife. No, that it was mutter. It's mutter for you to marry her. Now, the way Rashi seems to be learning is right from the beginning. It was beheter. She wasn't an HSE, like we'll see shortly, because she was divorced. Taisus says he seems to be learning that it means to say that it is mutter. There is no isser involved over here in marrying her. Now, Taisus points out, even if there was a aznos, there would not be an isser in marrying because she was forced and she was not mizana beratzon. But it's making a point to say that there would be no isser over here in marrying her in any event. There's no isser in marrying because there was no isser involved in the relationship. Why is there no isser involved? Because the Amar of Shmuel bar Nachmani Amar of Yonasan Kol Yoitzel Melchemes Beis Dovid Kaisav Get Krisus Liishtai. Because the minhag that they had, the custom that they had was that the soldiers of Beis Dovid, when they went out to battle, they used to write a get for their wives. In case they didn't come back from the war, they didn't want their wives to be subject to chalitza or to be subject to be agunas. So therefore, they wrote a get, and they wrote a get so that they would be considered to be divorced if the husband didn't come back. And therefore, they would be free to marry other men. They wouldn't be subject to yibum or chalitza. They wouldn't be agunas. The way Rashi is learning it is that there was a get given al tanai. They gave a get before they went to the war. Al tanai, that if they don't come back, the get should be chal mafreya from the beginning, from the time that they went out to the milcham. So therefore, Rashi learns that ultimately Uriah he got killed, so he didn't come back. So therefore, lemafreya, at the time that Dovid Melech was with her, she was therefore considered to be a Pnuya, not an HSE. She's not considered to be a married woman. Taisus is learning that if that would be the case, then at the time that Dovid was with her, since at that time Uriah had not yet died, she still would be considered to be an HSE. So Taisus learns rather what it means is that a get was given, a definitive get, not al tanai, not on condition, but it was given privately. It was given in secret. But al kolponim, she was considered to be divorced at the time, and therefore there was no avera for Dovid Melech to be with her. Because he learns that kol yoytzel milchemes beis Dovid koisav get krisus liyishtoi shenemar ve'ez haseres charitze ha'chalav ha'ele tavil l'sar ha'olev ve'esachecha tivkad l'shalom ve'esarubosam tikach. So it says that Yishai said to David that go take this to the battle, take these 10 cheeses to the battle, and take it to the captain, and go inquire your brothers and how they are, and see if they're safe. So it says, "Ves arubosam tikach." It uses the lotion of arubosam, my rubosam, kind of Yosef dvorim hamurovim beino lebeino. It means the things that are the intimate things, the things that are between them. You should take it. And what does that mean? What is the things that are connect them together, that arubosam, to bind them together? That's marriage. Take the get over there. To their brothers. That demonstrates that the minhag was that they used to, the soldiers that went out to battle, they had a get, they gave a get to their wives. So therefore, he brought back the get from his brothers to give it to their wives, and Dovid Melech continued on that practice. He continued on as well, and they had a get, the soldiers had a get, so therefore Bathsheba was not considered to be married at the time that Dovid Melech was with her. So Navi told Dovid Melech, he reprimanded him, he said, and you killed Uriah Chiti Becher b'nei Ammon. Why does it stress Becher with the sword of b'nei Ammon? So it means to say again, in this vein, that he was not chayta. Ma'cher b'nei Aman iyatan nena shalav, just like for killing b'nei Aman, you would not be punished for that. Av Uriah Chiti iyatan nena shalav, you're also not punished for killing Uriah Chiti. My taima, why was he not punished for killing him? Because Mord b'malchus, because Uriah was considered to be rebelling against the king. He was a Mord b'malchus. The Amr lay. David HaMelech told him to go back to his wife to call Bathsheba, and he said, my master Yoav, who was the general, he said, my master Yoav and the rest of the servants of my master they're fighting the battle, and I should go to my house to my wife, and you want me to go to my wife over there? So Rashi learns it is that the Meir b'Malchus is considered because he said V'adoni Yoav. He's in the presence of the king, and he says, my master Yoav. So therefore, it was Meir b'Malchus. He's treating Yoav as being the master, and not Dovid. That's Meir b'Malchus. Taisus learns that wouldn't be considered to be Meir b'Malchus. He was just referring to Yoav as a master, but not to say that in itself means that David HaMelech is not the king. But the way Taisus is learning is that he refused to obey the command of the king. David HaMelech told him to go to his house and go to his wife, and he refused. He was married by Malchus. If you look into the David HaMelech, you won't find that he had an Avera. This is the only Avera he had, because the Chsiv Rak b'dvar Uriah Chiti, only in the matter of Uriah Chiti, then that was only a very had. Abayek Shisha Rami the Rav, but he has to steer a contradiction in Rav the Rav. Mi Amar Rav. Hachi, did Rav say that this was only a vera of Amar Rav? Kibul David Loshen Hara. He said he had another Avera. He was Makaba Loshen Hara. Kasha, Sake Kasha. So now the Gemara is going to now discuss this matter of the Loshen Hara, that David HaMelech was that he possibly had. Gufa Rav Amar Kibul David Loshen Hara. He says he was Makaba Loshen Hara. So David HaMelech was searching out for the descendants of Yonasan, and he wanted to give them covet. So he was looking and wanted to see were there any descendants. He found a servant of one of the children of Yonasan, Mephibosheth, who was called Siva, and he inquired. He asked him, "Where's your master?" He says, "Vayomer lo hamelech heifoy, vayomer Siva el hamelech hinei hu beis mocher beis amia beloy dover." So he said that he is now in this place. He's in the house of Mocher ben Amil beloy dover. We darshan it with a loy with an aleph beloy dover. He's an empty person. He's an amaretz. So that's how we refer to him. Says Uksiv Vayishel Chamelch v'Chem beis Mocher ben Amil meloy dover with a vav meloy dover full of dover. He was a Talmud Chacham. So Frank the Gemara Michle Chazir the Shakro. We see that David HaMelech saw that Sivia was lying. He was lying about his master, Mephibosheth. Ki hadar al shen alava my time a kibla mine. Why was he makabel, as we'll see shortly, the Loshen Hara, that he was makabel, that he accepted? Why was he makabel that Loshen Hara? T'chsiv vayomer HaMelech v'ayim ben adonecha vayomer tziv al HaMelech hina yeshiv b'Shalayim. He asked him, "Where is your master?" So this is referring to a later time when David HaMelech, after the rebellion of Avshalom, and he had to flee. David HaMelech had to run away, and he had to run away from his son. And then he returned, and then he inquired, and he asked, "Where was Mephibosheth?" And Siva said, "He's in Yerushalayim." So he said that he's in Yerushalayim, and he said Lashon Hara on his master Mephibosheth. He says in Yerushalayim, and he's waiting there for the Malchus to be brought back to him. He sees that there is a Merida, there's a rebellion on Beis Dovid. He's sitting back in Yerushalayim. He didn't go with you. He didn't travel with you. He didn't go to support you. He's waiting now in Yerushalayim. He is now hoping and anticipating that they're going to now take the Malchus, the kingdom, and give it to him. So that was the Lashon Hara that Mephibosheth said. And how do we know that David HaMelech accepted that Lashon Hara? Menalon de Kibul Minei, Dechsiva Yomer Melech, Letziva, Hinei Lecha Kol Hashem Mephibosheth. He said, I'm giving all the possessions of Mephibosheth. David HaMelech said, I'm going to give it to you. Vayomer Tziva, Yishtachavesa, Em Sochem Beinecha Adonai Melech. And Tziva says, I bow down to you, and halvai that I should find favor in your eyes, that you're doing such a great thing for me. So he accepted the Lashon Hara, and therefore he gave all the possessions of Mephibosheth, he gave it to Tziva. But Shmuel Amar Lo Kibul David Lashon Hara. He says, no, he did not accept the Lashon Hara. He said because the reason that he agreed to this was because he saw that Tziva was telling the truth. Why? Torment karma chasabe. Dichsi Mephibosheth ben Shol Yarli Kras Hamelech V'Loyasa Raga V'Loyasa Sfama V'Zbagadav Loikibes. He came down to Yerushalayim to greet David HaMelech, and Mephibosheth was unkept. He didn't wash himself and cut himself. He was not groomed. He was unkept, and that's how he went to greet David HaMelech. So David HaMelech saw that he was unkept, and therefore David HaMelech saw in that what Tziva was saying was correct, that he was bitzar, he was in anguish that David HaMelech returned from the rebellion of Avshalom. So David HaMelech asked him, why didn't you go with me, Mephibosheth? He says, my servant, he tricked me, because I said to him that prepare my donkey so I can go and ride and I'll go to the king. And I'll go to the king, to the Kelim, to the Melech, ki piseach avdecha, because your servant is about himself. He was lame. Mephibosheth was lame, so he needed help. V'yiragel ba'avdecha el Adonai HaMelech, v'Adonai HaMelech kemal chalakim v'asa atay beinecha. And he said Lashon Hara on me. I couldn't go. I couldn't travel. He tricked me, and I was waiting for the king to come back. And then when the king would come back, then I would groom myself and prepare myself and go and greet him bekovet. So that's what he said. But David HaMelech took the sign that he was not kept as a sign that what Tziva was saying was correct. He says, why do you have to speak anymore? I already said that you and Tziva should divide the field. Now, Rashi points out that originally David HaMelech said that Tziva should keep it all, but at that point he was running away. He was not in his malchus, and it was clear, and it was nicker to Tziva as well, that this was not binding. It would only be binding when he was restored as being a melech. So that's what he said initially, but that was not binding. But over here, and now he said, so in Dovid's, he interpreted Mephibosheth's actions as that it was correct what Tziva was saying. He said, you and Tziva should divide the field. Let him take everything. I'm so happy that the king is coming home. That makes me so happy. Let him take him, let him have everything. But the Gemara darshans over there that he didn't mean it literally, because if he's so happy, there's no reason why he should say that Tziva should take everything. So we interpret it as following. I was thinking and hoping when you would become in peace. But and you, this is how you treat me. I don't have tinus, I don't have complaints against you. He was Mayred, the Rebbeinu Shalom. He says, Taina, that the Dovid HaMelech, the Rebbeinu Shalom restored him in peace. So we see further that he had his intentions, he had evil intentions. So the more we'll discuss this further, the opinions over here, different opinions on this matter.